Hello, my name is Ashutosh Avdani and today I will be presenting the proof for lower bound of element distinctness problem. This presentation has been assigned by Dr. Sharma Thankachan for Design and Analysis of Algorithms course. So let's start with the problem statement. Before determining a problem statement, let us understand what does the element distinctness problem mean. In basic sense, the element distinctness problem is a problem used for determining whether the given array or list has got unique elements in it or not. The input to the algorithm can be a sequence of numbers such as an array or list. The output is of course a binary output in which the condition is yes or no. If the condition is yes, then all the elements in the array are unique. If the condition is no, then few of the elements in the array or maybe all of the elements in the array are not unique. So what are we exactly claiming? We are claiming that the element distinctness problem requires a time complexity of omega of n log n using any of the algorithms. In this presentation, we try to find if there exists any method that can give us a time complexity better than omega of n log n. But prior to determining that, let us check an example to understand what does element distinctness mean. In this example, I've taken two arrays of 10 elements each. In the first array, all of the elements are unique. Therefore, we can say that the array is distinct and the output given by the algorithm will be yes. In the second array, as we can see, there are two elements which are non-distinct, the element 1 and the element 4, which have been repeated at different indexes. Therefore, we can say that the array is non-distinct and the output given by the algorithm will be no. There are few methods for solving the element distinct algorithm and which have been discussed in the next slide. The first method for finding the solution is hashing. In hashing, we run each index of an array through a hash function and generate a hash index. When two similar hash indexes are found, then the elements are similar, and therefore the array is not distinct. The second method is sorting. In sorting, we apply a sort function to an array and iterate over the index to compare the equality of the elements. The third is an algebraic tree. In algebraic tree, we build a linear decision tree for determining the element uniqueness of the element by sorting and by determining the path followed by the elements. Now let us try to understand what is a decision tree model and try to prove its lower bound and derive some conclusions from it. So first, the decision tree model is a model of computation where the algorithm has sequence of decisions at multiple levels that depends on the previous outcome. Each outcome determines the path to be followed by the program. Then there are few properties related to decision tree. The main property is that the model will be a labeled tree. So the program in itself will be a labeled tree. The non-leaf nodes will be labeled using I and j indices. The edge of the tree will have a relationship operator such as less than, greater than, or greater than equal to, less than equal to. The leaf node will have output values which will be in permutation with the input of array. The execution of the tree will always begin at root node and continue up to leaf node. So now let us take an example to understand how the decision tree works. As you can see, we have an array A containing three elements such 10, 3 and 8. So now let us see how it will traverse through a decision tree. So first it will arrive at the root node. At the root node, it will compare the ith and jth index. So ith index element is 10 and jth index is 3. So the first question it will ask is whether it will compare whether 10 is less than or equal to 3 or greater than equal to 3. Since it is greater than equal to 3, it will follow this route. Now it will compare the ith index and the third index, which is 8. So 10 is greater than 8. So it will follow this path. After coming to this path, there is a decision to make whether 3 is less than or equal to 8 or greater than 8. Of course, it is less than 8, so it will follow this. And this leaf node will be our output. So the decision tree will follow the path of right, right, and left. Yeah. Now what we can conclude from this example is that a particular decision tree will always have n factorial leaf nodes. As you can we can prove that immediately. If there are 3 inputs in a decision tree, 3 input array, I'm sorry, 3 input array in for the decision tree. So 3 factorial is equal to 6. Therefore, we have 6 leaf nodes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So each and every decision tree will have n factorial leaf nodes. The height of the tree depends on the log of n factorial. Therefore, the height of the tree will always be log of n factorial, and the lower bound of the tree will be n log n. It, uh, will be n log n, omega of n log n. So, like I said, the decision tree must have n factorial leaf node. The the n factorial determines the permutation of x. So the leaf node will always be the permutation of whatever the input array which we are sending to a decision tree. The question arises now, why we have to prove the element distinctness lower bound. We know that the problem has only 2 leaf values, yes and no. This makes that n factorial is equal to 2, which is n equal to 2. Therefore, the height of the tree is log 2, which is 1. This makes the decision tree of height only 1, which is of no use, because a single level tree cannot be useful in determining the uniqueness of the problem of the array. To solve this, we have to think differently. So, to solve the problem, we'll have to consider and try to prove the following steps. The first step is there must be n factorial leaf node showing or proving that always it will give you a yes answer. This is what all our proof will be based upon. To prove this, we must use n-dimensional geometry. This n-dimensional geometry is a powerful intuition on which we will be able to solve this problem. So, to summarize, the main claim is that the time required for element distinctness is omega of n log n, using any algorithm on a decision tree. But to prove this main claim, we have few subclaims. The first subclaim is that the region R of leaf L must be connected. That means that a leaf L is the leaf node giving or having the yes answer. So the R of L must be connected and must be convex. The second claim is that there exists x equal to x1, x2 up to xn, a point, an array in n-dimensional space having distinct elements in it. Let y be a permutation of x. Then we have to prove that x and y must reach a distinct yes leaf node. That is, x and y will follow a different path, even though the answer or the leaf node is the answer is same, but the leaf node will be different. And the third and the main claim is that the number of yes leaf node must be greater than or equal to n factorial. This will help in proving the time complexity is omega of n log n. So before proving that x belongs to before proving the first claim, we have to prove that x belongs to R, and we have to interpret what we mean by x. So X is an array having n elements in n-dimensional space having a unit cube. Therefore, X can be determined as 0 less than or equal to xi less than or equal to 1. What this means is that the X is between 0 and 1, and it's in between a unit cube. As we can see in the Cartesian plane of X and Y coordinate, the green determines all the instances of from this unit cube. So basically what we can say is that this green, it determines all the yes answers. So similarly, what does the red determine? The red will determine all the no answers, or basically the non-distinct answers. Therefore, the X will have values in the green zone, while whatever the non-distinct element will be present on the red line. So now let's go towards the first claim, that R of L must be connected and R of L must be a convex region. Now let me first define what is meant by connected region and what is meant by convex region. So region R is called as connected region when there exists a point X and Y which belong in the region R, and there a uh, path must exist between X and Y which passes entirely through R. Now let me explain it, what is meant by convex region. A convex region R is called as a region where there exist 2 points X, Y which have been connected via a path, but the path must be a straight line between the 2 points. So for example, in point X and Y in between a circle, so the line between X and Y is a straight line, so we can call this region as a convex region. So in the next figure, as we can see that the path is, even though it is a straight line, it doesn't entirely lie between the region, it lies outside of the region. So this means that this is a not a non-convex region, while this is a convex region. So now let us prove the claim 1. As you remember, the claim 1 is that R of L must be convex and should be connected. So now let us take 2 points in any points in R of L. So now R of L is a space is an n-dimensional space having all the leaf node L which have the value yes. So let X be an n-dimensional array and Y be a y-dimensional array. Therefore, we can say that X follows a certain path and reaches a leaf node L, and therefore is present, therefore exists in R of L. Same will be the condition with Y. Therefore, we can say that in execution 1, that for instance X, L is reached. Since Y also follows the same path and reaches the same place, we can say that for instance equal to Y, in execution 2, L is also reached. Now let us consider the instance Z, or instance equal to Z. In this execution 3, what we consider is that Z is a point on xy similar to X and Y of being an n-dimensional array. But I define Zi is equal to lambda times xi plus 1 minus lambda times yi. What this proves is that what this equation proves is that if I substitute lambda as 0, I get Zi equal to yi. And if I put 1 as lambda as the value of lambda, then Zi is equal to xi. Therefore, we can say that Z is on a straight line of X and Y. We can also prove that point Z is on the line as follows. What it means is, let us consider a root label of I colon j. Now we already know that the execution one in execution one, the x has reached the leaf node L. Therefore, for the sake of argument, I will say that the x follows the less than branch. Since y also follows and reaches leaf node L, I can say that the y will be also following the less than branch. What this means is that xi is always going to be xj and yi is always going to be yj. This condition is because of the leaf node having the decision between the ith and jth indexes. So since x and y both are following the less than branch, therefore xi will always be less than xj and yi will always be less than yj. Therefore, after that, I will be multiplying both of these equations and adding them together. Multiplying both of the equations with lambda and adding them together. Therefore, lambda times xi plus 1 minus lambda times yi will be less than lambda times xj plus 1 minus lambda times yj. Now, if you look at execution 3, what I defined zi is lambda times xi plus 1 minus lambda times yi, which means that this equation, the first equation, is for okay, I'm sorry, let me just clean that. So this first equation is for zi and the second equation is for zj. By this I am saying that zi is less than zj, which is exactly what we wanted to prove. Therefore, this proves that the execution 3 also follows the less than branch, which means that z is a point on the straight line x and y. Therefore, we can say that R of L is a convex region because all the points in R or region R reaches leaf node L. Therefore, R of L is a convex region. So after proving the first claim, we have to prove that the second claim is also true. Therefore, if you remember, the hypothesis of claim 2 was that if there are 2 points in R of L, x and y, where y is the permutation of x, then they both follow a distinct path to leaf node L. We can prove this claim by using the method of contradiction. For the sake of argument, we'll say that x and y reach the same leaf L. That is, that R of L or the region of L is connected through path P or belongs to path P from point of x and y. To prove this, we take a point Z on path P such that the answer of Z is no. So what we are doing here is basically we are taking a path, taking a point on x and y, and here is our point Z. Now, according to the current logic or the current scenario, if x and y are on the same path, then z must also be on the same, and if z is also on the same path, then z is also true, or basically z is also distinct. But that is not the case. What we have to prove is that z is not distinct, or z is or for output for z must be no. Z is not distinct. So to prove this point, what we have to prove is a subclaim that that for xij there must exist a point I comma j such that x of I is less than x of j and y of I must be greater than y of j. If we can prove this, then this point does not exist on on line x and y. Or if this point exists, then it exists in a different location and that x and y do not follow the same path. So it will be like this. So x is here, y goes here. So let us first prove the subclaim. So let us take an array X where it is a simple array of four numbers. Let Y be the permutation of X. Therefore, the Y will have the same values of X, but in a different order than X. Now we are considering pi of X and pi of Y. Now pi of X is basically a sorted X. So basically pi of X is a sorted array X. So the pi of X is 1458 and X was 8514. So pi of X is basically a sorted X. Now what will be the pi of Y? Since Y is a permutation of X, therefore what we can directly write is in pairs. So what we can say is that 1 and 4 will be written here. 4 and 1 will be written here, and so on and so forth. So basically pi of y is 4185. Since they both are in permutation, we can directly write it. Now as we know that x of I is less than x of j, therefore 1 is less than 4, 4 is less than 8, 5 is less than 8, 4 is less than 5, so on and so forth. So I is less than j, which means that pi of xi must be less than pi of xj. But can we say same about pi of y? We cannot, because pi of 4 is greater than pi of j, which basically means that 4 is greater than 1. So the reason being that pi of y is not in increasing order as same as pi of x. Therefore, the value of pi of y will be different than pi of x. So the order followed by pi of y will be different than pi of x. Since pi of y is a permutation of x, it is not x. Therefore, we can backtrace this to the main array. So 1 comma 4. So here, and this condition from here to here. So we can say that xi will be less than xj, but yi will not be less than yj. Therefore, we prove the claim that xi is less than xj, but while yj is less than yi, or yi is less than yj, which we can see from here, and we just backtrace it to the original array. Yeah. Now continuing to our original proof, since we proved the subclaim, then what we can do is we can take a function f of w where wi minus wj. Now we already know that f of x is xi less than xj. Therefore, f of w for f or f of x will always be less than 0 since I is less than j, and f of y will always be greater than 0 since I greater than j. Therefore, we can apply the mean value theorem, which says that there will exist a point z on the path p where f of w will be equal to 0. So if I write it as f of z equal to 0, And if I substitute it back again in this equation, we can see it here. So 0 is equal to Zi minus Zj. What this proves is that Zi is equal to Zj, which means that for point Z on the path P, there exists an element which is twice, which basically means that Z is not distinct, which was our initial requirement for proving this claim. Therefore, we can say that since Z is different, the Z of I different from X and Y, therefore it does not exist. Therefore, the path followed by X and Y must not be the same. As we can see, now after proving claim 2 and for the claim 3, what we have to prove is basically that if you remember that claim 3 was that there must be leaf node greater than or equal to n factorial. Now, according to the claim 2, which we have proved earlier, we already know that if we have distinct permutations of an array, they will always reach different leaf node. So basically, if I have an array of n equal to 2, then for having distinct permutations, so 2 factorial is 2. For 3, it will be 6. So for 3 factorial, it will be 6. So the number of distinct permutations of any array can be n factorial. Therefore, for if an array X reaches yes leaf node, then for all the permutations for for n numbered array will be n factorial. What this means is that for all the elements uh, in X in array X, the permutations of array X will be n factorial. Therefore, all of these n factorial arrays will reach different n factorial yes leaf node. Hence, if it reaches n factorial leaf node, we can say that the height of the tree will be log of n factorial, which is equal to omega of n log n. Which is exactly what we wanted to. Therefore, to summarize that, we were successfully able to prove that the tide bound for the element distinctness problem is omega of n log n. We were also able to prove that the number of yes leaf node will be greater than or equal to n factorial. And according to claim 1, if you remember that since for X interpretation of X, there will exist a line passing which will differentiate instances for between different yes leaf nodes. So if you remember, so this line will differentiate with leaf node yes here and here, which will help us in differentiating and forming the yes leaf form a connected region. So it will help us to differentiate between one connected region to another. And this no, the line which passes through the diagonal here, will help us this line here partition the region between between two distinct permutations, therefore helping us in proving that these partitions are in the same region, and no distinct partitions are in the same region. So for references, I have used the NPTEL lecture 25 and a Science Direct paper on element distinctness problem. Thank you for watching this video, and you can leave the comments and your criticism. You can leave the comments under the video, and also you can leave email me at my mail ID.